say welcome to everyone. I guess you've fast forwarded to here. I hope that you fast forward to this point in the beginning of the video. Now it's the beginning of the video, and we have a live session, Sacred Warrior conversation with Ingrid Huffman, which is the founder of Sacred Warrior Nation, or OWL Sacred Nation, or also known as OWL Sacred Nation. And she's going to explain to us what being a sacred warrior is. And we called this show Sacred Warrior Conversations because Ingrid, well, she considers herself a sacred warrior, and I consider her a sacred warrior, and I like to consider myself also a sacred warrior. And what we both share is that we have found in our lives our legends, which means having found our purpose in life, and having found also our connection with the sacredness in the universe, right? Which also includes Mother Earth, right? But I want her to start explaining to you what being a sacred warrior is. So, hi Ingrid, how are you?
I'm fabulous. It's a gorgeous sunny day.
The sunshine after the snowstorm.
Yes, it's such a blessing.
So let's start from the beginning. How do you introduce a sacred warrior? What is a sacred warrior?
Well, first of all, Chief Sitting Bull said many years ago that a warrior is not someone who fights, who goes to battle, because no one has the right to take anyone else's life. But the warrior's task is to take care of the elderly, the defenseless, those who can't take care of themselves, and above all, the children. Above all of that, the children and Mother Earth, because she and them are the future of humanity. So being a sacred warrior has very little, if not at all, nothing really to do with the military. So if anyone ever hears this that has never been interested in the military, don't turn us off right now. Because being a sacred warrior is not about joining the military or going to battle. And from now on, for the next few hundred years, the universe is going to get 100% behind, along with our Mother Earth is going to get 100% behind the sacred warriors and hinder everyone else, because the time of evolution is here. Time for freshness.
Okay, so how do you become a sacred warrior?
You contact one of us.
But that sounds too simple.
Those would be the geese that you're hearing.
Yeah, I can hear them.
I think the first step in becoming a sacred warrior is to understand that energy lies in you, too, that one has the courage to be a warrior. We often tend to think of ourselves as non-heroic, and heroes are something outside of us. Yeah. And when we think of a hero, we think of a warrior, but that energetic archetype is very distinct in every single one of us. It just shows up in different ways.
Yeah. So what do you think is the motivation to become a sacred warrior? What is?
I think the biggest, probably the biggest motivation is not wanting to be a debt slave anymore, not wanting to work to just pay bills, but wanting to live your passion.
So we're saying that being a sacred warrior is more than just a tag of the sacred, or just the name, or some fancy type of thing. We're talking about being able to find a way to become free from many parts of the system, right?
Right.
In
Finding that deep in it's in your DNA. That warrior energy is written into our DNA.
So those people are really wanting to be on the show.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
So we'll just have them as a background sound. Well, I think it's a very, very long subject, and I think that there's still many, many spaces to fill out, questions that people might have. If I want to tell people that this is we're beginning this this project. Ingrid has been working for a while in trying to set this up, but it hasn't been such a long time. I think it's been it's still kind of fresh and new, and it's getting there. We're starting we have a website now, which we invite you to visit. It's Sacred Owl, owlsacrednation.com. Also, you can find it owlwarriorhub.com. We have both domains. This website is brand new. It's still under parts of it are still under construction. You can still land there and join us. That's the door is open, and we're recruiting, or we are starting to train people. We're starting to look for people. We're starting to begin this experiment, and there's many steps to it, and it's still a long way. So we're still building an audience. We're still trying to get to people, trying to reach out through different means, by mail, by the social media here, like this video. And I think there's many questions. I want people that are watching this video to please put your questions down, leave your questions, ask your questions, write them down in the comments, or send us a mail, or any way you want to reach out. If you have any questions about this, please do so as soon as you're watching this. Write the questions down. So I'm going to try to answer some of those questions, what people might come to think. So first, we have to, I think we have to, Ingrid, realize, and we're going to be talking about this in other shows, how we're living in a sort of a matrix, right? We're living in a system that is made to take away our energy, to take away our time, to take away our health. We are enslaved, right? And
yeah,
I wonder how many people realize this, how many people really see this, and of those people, how many people are willing to do something about it, right? And I think that's the ultimate thing about being a sacred warrior, or becoming one, or beginning to be one, is realizing that. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. All of life, from the tiniest blade of grass, the tiniest pebble, the tiniest microbe in the soil we can't see, is a matrix of its own, a matrix that generates life, a matrix that's ever evolving, ever expanding. But it doesn't just expand, it contracts, and then it expands this way, and then it contracts and it expands that way. But we've been separated from this matrix and drawn into the matrix of human logic, reasoning is coming from the left brain only, that's reliant on things, and economic growth, and enslaving each and every one of us to make money for the top 1%, who think they're smarter than we are. And I've chosen to work as Mother Earth. Our Mother Earth, we're at a point of extinction because of this. And she's going to heal herself, whether we join in or not. So we're at the point of it's time to make a choice. Either we evolve with her and step away from this matrix, start untying ourselves these corset strings that are binding us, or we will be annihilated. That's pretty much that simple. And so a sacred warrior makes the choice, finds that courage, because there's three biggest platform, the tripod of the sacred warrior energy is courage, discipline, and skill. So the courage to face how you're tied into the matrix, the discipline to get yourself out of it, and the skill to evolve with Mother Earth.
And in this case, the discipline, that's why we would reach out to you, right? Or some guidance in how to discipline ourselves. Let's say we have the courage. Let's say we want to get out of the matrix, but we don't know how. So we look for a way to do that, right?
Right.
And I think there's, well, you've been building this owl sacred nation around 6 different pillars, which are main themes or ways that you can become sovereign, and which is economy, right? It's energy, it's land and water, or land and water. Then it's also wholeness, which is your version of wellness, which is health, being sovereign in health, not depending on somebody else telling you what health is or should be. And that's, I think, a major issue right now, as we're entering a new age of medical tyranny. And those would be the 6 pillars, right? And education, that's the last one. Education. Yeah. Which involves and also integrates spirituality, the way we understand the universe, the way we see the universe, all of that, right? So that's a long conversation for all of that, but it's all about sovereignty, and it's all about we've been talking about how it's coming down to a personal decision, right? So every person has the freedom to choose, and I think we're having a hard time dealing with this freedom, Ingrid. I think that's one of the things that allows the matrix to really, or the human machine matrix to exist, and the way and evolve as it's evolving, and grow and take over the world as it is doing, is the fact that we can simply choose to be part of that or to not be part of that, right?
It is that simple. But we first have to understand that these the global elite that are running the matrix, that have taken us over, they have the belief that we are weak and inferior to them, and they know better than us how to run our lives. So if that doesn't piss you off, then I think you need to take a long, hard look at why you're a person, and if you're why you're so willing to let someone else control your life. And I think many people can say, well, I don't. I make my own choices. And I'm going to tell you that's absolute bullshit. You tell me why you go to work, why you have the job you have, why you're seeing the doctor you see, why you're subscribing to a disease system, why you think you need to die of disease. That's all computer generated. That is all put in the system. That is all being a statistic by someone that says they know better than you how to run your life because you're weak and inferior.
Right.
And so that's the first part of the sacred warrior, saying, I'm not weak and inferior. I can bring my power home to myself and make this choice. I want to start designing my own life.
Yeah.
And that's the personal legend. And most of us knew that when we were around 6 to 7, but society convinced us it would never happen.
And that's the hard part. I realized that everything that we live, or that, yeah, in this modern world, everywhere we look, be it a on the street, the publicity, if you look at any show, any series, movie, any social media, everything, absolutely everything is this world they created for us, right? And we have a hard time seeing that there's another world, and that other world is more real and is just completely independent from this matrix, right? Where all of the beliefs that we're told, all of the education we receive, the things, the science we get, because we get I think we have a very weak scientific understanding. We think that we're on the breaking edge of science and discovery, but we don't realize that a lot of that has been corrupted, because we live in a corrupt world. We have to realize this. This is the world, the human world, or the human matrix is corrupt, right? And
yeah.
And we don't have a way to see the other world. How do we see the other world? I mean, this is just a little glimpse, right? This is a very brief type of shine of two persons telling the world, hey, there's another world. There's a completely different way to interpret the world and to live life and to become free. But it's very little what we can do, right? Is there something else that we can see? We can try to grasp this other world, Ingrid?
Well, yeah, I think it's finding ourselves. Okay, let's talk about this science that we think is on the cutting edge, but it's actually operating on models that are over 200 years old and so outdated it's not funny. So human science thinks they've mapped the human genome, but it's only 2%, 2 to 3% of our DNA. The rest of it they call junk DNA, that because they have no clue how it functions. So this warrior archetype is so inherent in this DNA, in our DNA, in this junk DNA, that we receive this magnetic energy comes to us through the planet Mars, is part of this. So, and we all have Mars in our birth chart. Mars was somewhere in the sky when we were born. And we find so my understanding, as I'm delving into this 97% junk DNA, we can call them switches, but the way they work is not on or off. It's more like a seesaw or a pendulum, and we need both. We need to see both sides. We keep getting told that we need to ascend in vibration. We need to come up to the higher vibrations of love and light. Well, that to me is like telling me that I need to turn off the bass on my stereo. I love the bass. Now, do I want to hear nothing but the bass? No. So the base of the warrior archetype is that of struggle. And it's that struggle that makes us feel frustrated with the current status quo that says, I'm done, I need to, but we repress it. So what happens when we repress this need, to this frustration, this struggle that made us survive? Without this struggle, we wouldn't be here on planet Earth. She would not have born us, given birth to us. So if we repress this struggle, we find the person who's really defeatist. There's a lot of energy and tension stored up in this body because it takes a lot to defeat your warrior archetype. And ultimately, if we don't let that tension out, it will turn into deep depression. What's the statistic of depression in the world? Not just the US, but the world. It's pretty damn high. If then the other hand, if the person doesn't repress it, it becomes an extrovert. It goes into it, and it's reactive. It's that person that is so angry that they're fighting with everyone and everything all the time, and they're just teetering on the edge of explosiveness. So that's the quote, the dark side, that the base side of the pendulum, and we need that. We need to allow that in so we can see the courage and the honor, which is the other pendulum, the other side, the other extreme, the very light side of the pendulum. And as it swings and it comes to center, to a place of harmony, harmonious order, then we operate out of perseverance. No matter what, if it moves that way into struggle, we accept it and we persevere through the struggle till we come back into honor. And it's this constant swinging back and forth and appreciating it and operating from this higher, not higher, but wider, more broad stance rather than just this short little waveform. And so how many of you feel depressed? How many of you are irritated and angry all the time? That's your warrior energy calling you.
Wow, that's amazing. So now, let's say that, so this owl sacred nation is a way to channel that, right? It's a way to really find a way.
It's a way to get you started. And if you want to just stick your toes in the water, so to speak, and feel, you become an owl citizen. If you're ready to jump in, hook, line, and sinker, you become a sacred warrior or a owl citizen. But at the same time, you're coming to sacred warrior training.
Okay, so what happens then? Let's say that I want to become a sacred. Let's say I don't want to just stick my toes in the water. Let's say I want to jump right in. So what I do?
You get a hold of me, and we'll have a conversation, and I'll issue you an invite to come to 100 days of sacred warrior training at my farm, at my all natural chemical free farm, where it'll be a little bit of a boot camp, a military boot camp like structure. Only I'm not going to yell in your face and scream obscenities like a drill sergeant does, but to use the military adage or saying, if that wasn't the correct word, in boot camp, in military boot camp, the drill sergeant takes you apart and puts you back together in his or her image.
Okay.
At Sacred Owl Warrior Training Boot Camp or Training Camp for these 100 days, I'm holding the space for you and giving you tools to take apart to take apart yourself that was created in someone else's image, so you can put yourself back together in your own image.
So it's about finding yourself, really. It's about discovering and creating a new version of you, which is, I think, the hardest part. I think that attachment is one of our biggest hurdles to evolve as an individual, or as a community, or as a humanity. We are attached to our past. We're attached to our current structures, and to evolve and to grow, we need to. It's like an insect that it has to transform. Like a butterfly needs to leave its old shape behind, just completely leave it there, and just completely transform, right? And I think that's a very tough part. But I'm betting that you have a very good idea on how to guide people through that, making them feel comfortable, warm, and welcome, right? It's not
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing, right? It's not a painful thing.
No.
On the contrary.
Well, let's talk about that. As the Buddha said, all life is suffering. Why is life suffering? Because of our attachments. Because we get attached. We get attached to living in our house constantly. I can't leave my house for more than 10 days at a time. That's attachment. I can't leave my job. Let's go to a movie. Radium Girls. I just watched this last week. This was back in the 1920s when the element radium, the very toxic radioactive element radium, was discovered, and it was hailed as the cure-all, be-all, end-all. And these women that were working in this radium factory in Tennessee were dying of radium poisoning. In fact, their graves are still lit up. They're that irradiated. And the girl that was the sacred warrior that put a stop to it and went to court, all her fellow citizens or people of the earth that were working there were like, don't do this, we need the money, don't do this. So they would rather give their lives to the slavery. Oh, they were painting radio dials to the tune of 1 penny a radio dial. So they'd rather give their lives in debt slavery to 1 penny for one item than be free of that toxic environment and live in hell. So our attachments create huge, huge pain for us. But I'm here you can't be free of that pain till you feel it, till you're willing to let it go. And I'm here to guide you through that process, because I've been through that process many times.
Well, this is an amazing thing to realize, and to me, it's quite amazing that today we can find something and someone that is willing to guide us in this process, and that is setting up this community, this hub, this nation, so that this can happen. I think that is the real wonderful thing about our sacred nation is that precise thing, and it's almost like its own legend, right? And to me, really is like the breaking edge of human evolution. It's like the project that everybody should be that should happen. Is like, what do you think? If you ask me, after I've been on my path, on my personal legend for more than 20 years, which is a while, I think. I started really young when I was 16, and since I never really stumbled on anything like this, right? So for more than 20 years, I've been walking my path. I've been deconstructing. I've had at least at first, right, the first stages of my path, I had to break away from my old structures and create new structures and find new structures. And I found new structures in nature and with indigenous people. And but never in all of that path did I ever stumble upon this, right? Somebody that is willing to make it a thing, right? So it's I think it's groundbreaking. It is changing everything, and I think it's the dawn of a new world, right? And
It is.
and we have to talk a lot more about that, because we start seeing very similar things, right? Like similar ideas. A long time ago, we had this Venus project. Uh, Came up with these guys thinking about a city that would be self-sufficient and independent from the power grid and from the food supply and everything. But there was a lot of limits in there. I would see lots of the same pattern of thinking from the old, this obsolete worlds into that project. And now we start seeing things like the New Earth project, that kind of has the same ideas to it. But then we're talking about this, and we welcome our viewers to join in our conversation, since we're not just wanting to present this our project to you. We're also wanting to use it's like our inner circle here. So welcome to our inner circle, viewers.
Yeah.
And yeah, me and Ingrid, we're talking about this. We're building this thing, and we're analyzing these different projects and different movements and different things that are kind of similar, but they don't really kind of get it, do they, Ingrid? They don't fully.
No.
So tell me, what do you see in the New Earth project that that you make up for, or that you go to the next step, or what's their limit?
So it's the sacred warrior, after some training, after removing the wool from the eyes, after starting to peel back the layers of the matrix, the honeycomb matrix that has us wound up in it, peel back the spider web, says to his or her heart, oh my, I've been at this situation before. This is what happened to me 4.5 years ago when I met a neighbor, that a Marine, former Marine, very angry man. And it took about a month, and I was like, heart? I didn't know I was talking to my heart at this time. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the third time I'm seeing this scenario. How do I stop this right now? So the sacred warrior says, I've been here before. I don't want to repeat this lesson over again in the same way and keep repeating it over and over again. And the heart says, we're here, honey, because you've never learned to go beyond the lesson. So none of these, very few of these other spiritual leaders, like the New Earth Project, are telling you you can go beyond. They want you to use yoga, meditation, etc., to expand your cage in your current debt slavery state or your current medical slavery state. But they're not telling you you can go beyond. And that's where I'm at. You can go beyond.
So really, are you guys really not seeing? I mean, are they really just trying to make you more comfortable in your slave state? That's what it's all about?
They're trying to, like, take for instance the New Earth Project. They're trying to wake you up, but they're also not giving any hope for moving beyond this current slave state. And we're at the point. We're at a great reset. The reset is happening, folks, and it's time to make a choice. Either you continue in the old patterns, or you come to a new way of thinking. And this is part of the problem. Albert Einstein's quote, my favorite one: "You cannot solve a problem from the same level of mind that created the problem." And everyone I'm hearing that's talking about the Great Reset, that is saying wake up, is still operating from the same level of mind. They're still going to recreate the world exactly the way as we know it now.
Yeah. And well, I think this is a crucial point that we need to explain more to people, that we've talked about so far of the matrix and the traps, and how we are enslaved, and then how being a sacred warrior is a way to transform yourself from this. There's a lot of mind of changes in the mind, changes in how you see the world, re-education, deconstruction of your old mindset, of your old energetical being. And I think, well, as to this point, things like the New Earth Project are helpful, where they teach you how to, or maybe not, maybe I'm wrong, but I think there's a lot of subjective, of spiritual, of energetic deconstruction and changes in mindset. But what's the next step? This is what I really, really like, and that we need to tell the public. The next step, I think, is that's what you're doing. You train as a sacred warrior, you become a sacred warrior, and then it's time to join the hub, right? It's time.
It's time to become a villager, a villager of the hub. And being a villager means that you don't just come to sacred warrior training for 100 days and go back to your life as you knew it before. You're gonna find your personal legend, and maybe your personal legend says, "I really belong in the city." You're still part of the villager hub at that point, but you're going to find yourself not working for money. You're going to find yourself doing what you love, and money will follow, whatever form that takes. Or you say, you know what, you come and do 100 days of sacred warrior training, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I love the cattle. I really want to do this. Is my personal legend. It's got something to do with the cattle." So then you stay on this farm, and you become a part of this village right here. Yeah. On this farm, and that's your part of the project. And now you're going to start teaching other sacred warriors about this.
But then also the concept of nation, as we've talked, is creating more villages, right? And having
right. So yeah, sorry. So if you go back to the city, or you go back to your farm, now you still continue. You're still an Owl Sacred Warrior trainee. You're what we call a root, a remote online trainee, owner trainee. And when we mean owner, we don't mean ownership of the land. We mean ownership of yourself. But now, if you want to mimic or work on your farm like this and invite other people there, you're still part of our nation. You're part of our family. You can be in Europe, you can be in India, you can be in China, you can be in Mexico, you can be in South America, and still be part of our nation.
Yeah, and well, then I think we should talk about the Earth Keepers, because I like, and I'll tell this to you. Maybe we haven't talked about it. What my vision is for Owl Sacred Nation, and I think it's kind of like your vision too. But I see that there's a need in this world for a place where where sacred warriors can come together, right? Let's say that they've trained already. Let's say that they're already sacred warriors. So what we need is some type of hub or some type of cooperative, right? Where we
Right.
can come together, join our resources, also create a vehicle to somehow get more resources, right? Get some economical resources, so that we can become earth keepers. And and we have that on as part of the name, owl owl
Well,
nation of sacred warriors and earth keepers,
a
which
sacred
means
warrior is an earth keeper, because first and foremost we are learning how to work with the natural sustainability, inherent sustainability of Mother Earth, so we can shepherd her, so we can manage and caretake and steward her for the next 7 generations. So yes, a sacred warrior is inherently an earth keeper.
an earth keeper. And that's my ultimate vision and dream, where there's many people coming together. uh, there's this real sacred economic machinery, where somehow what you call fiat currency, or just regular money, is invested into something that really transforms the world, the way we live. And I think, obviously, many people are limited into seeing this. I mean, they think that there is no way outside of the commodities we have, and out of the ways we live. I mean, some people cannot imagine themselves living without a doctor, right? How can you live
Right.
without a doctor? And
That's part of the programming of the Matrix.
so all of that's the long part of the journey in the sacred warrior, is deprogramming that. And once you do that, you realize that you can just be completely sovereign, autonomous, right? You can.
Yes.
You don't need anybody for anything. You can just be completely. You still need more people, right? You still need. You
Right.
can't be just alone.
Because we're a web.
So
Right.
that's, yeah. So here's where we come together, right? So you're offering Owl Segregation, is offering the training, right? The deprogramming and reprogramming that is so necessary. But at the same time, is the cooperative, is the organization that is going to allow those trainees, or those graduates, or warriors, or hoots or roots, to create their new spaces, their new eco villages. And I know there's a lot of people that are gonna click into this word, and I'll tell you about it. I personally, I'm somehow involved in everything eco-village in Spanish and Latin America, right? I'm part of different groups, and I know personally people here in Mexico that work closely with all the movements of sustainable, they call it now new sustainable human settlements, right? That's their new name. They changed it from eco villages to sustainable settlements. And what I see with them is that some, they have, I mean, wanting to create an eco village and living sustainably is big part of the goal, and is big part of the solution, right? But I also see in them that sometimes they drag with them parts of the old mindset, of the old system, and many times they're not whole, where they forget to deprogram so many other things, and they forget to deepen into their spiritual and educational, path, where they still have very modern or matrixy scientific ideas, right? So it's very complex. I think it's a very complex thing, but I think that we need also to tell people that this is where we're going. This is the solution. Really, it, you choose to leave the matrix and live a sustainable life, and this is the means. Our sacred nation is the means to get there in a wholesome fashion, right?
Right. And one of the biggest one of the biggest pitfalls of this with others is sustainability, because they don't have a clue what they're sustaining. And sustainability is $1 million buzzword. That's
Well, now it is. Let me say that they're hijacking the matrix, the cabal. They're hijacking everything that at one point was like a social concern, or something that we like the fight against racism, the fight against or the search for sustainable living. All of that, they're hijacking it, and they're making it their business now. So
yeah, because they're monetizing it. So that's the second biggest thing is the biggest stopper is, oh, well, I need money first. The universe doesn't work that way. The universe wants to see that you're willing to jump in hook, line, and sinker without wondering. I mean, you can wonder, where the hell is the money going to come from? How is this going to work? But you don't sit at home and wait and put weight on your body while you're waiting for your ship to come in, for the universe to give you the money. Because as long as you wait for the money to come first, you're going to wait yourself into the casket.
That's such a crucial thing to say, Ingrid. I think that's crucial. I think that has a lot to do with a really profound capability of having wisdom, of having spiritual sight. You need that, and you have that. And when you have that, then you can flow with the universe. You can really start going to where we're going and get out of these traps, right? There's all these traps. And for example, I see in this New Earth project thing, the trap of staying in an online thing, and not talking about coming together physically and creating an eco-village.
And actually doing.
And actually
right,
doing
and actually
something.
doing. Right.
It's like, okay, we'll just become enlightened, and we'll keep living our lives, having our jobs, and feeding we're not unplugging. We need to unplug, right? We need to really, the only way to shut down the machine is to, I mean, as far as we can go, is to take our cable out, unplug from it.
Right. So here we come to another, people will be like, well, I don't want to join you, because it means you're living off grid. That means you're living, without TV, without this, without that, without things. And we're not saying that it's wrong to have things. Humanity has evolved, and I'm going to get away from that word wrong also. Humanity has evolved where we have. Some of the inventions, a lot of the inventions are fantastic, and we're not saying we need to go back to the old hardship ways of being. But the thing is, we cast all our power into these things. I'll take, for instance, we cast our power into socks and boots, thinsulate in the boots to keep our feet warm. Well, we just had this cold crack here in Oklahoma, And I don't have winter boots because we don't ever have winter long enough to worry about winter boots. So I had a pair of rubber boots and I had thick socks. And on the days when it was still 27 below, I'm walking with the windshield. I'm walking out to break ice for the cattle. And my mantra is, my hands and feet are warm. My toes and fingers are warm. My hands and feet are warm by the it worked. I wasn't casting my power into my socks or my boots to keep my feet warm.
And that's a good example of how we, to me, it's a great example of how we are become so dependent on external things and so deprived of our own power, right?
Absolutely. We've always casting our power into some savior outside of us. That's religion teaches us. There's a savior coming to earth to save us, and we're going to go through a rapture. I have news. There's no rapture. The rapture is you finding your power and rapturing yourself into sovereignty. And then when you purchase a thing, you're purchasing it because you know it will add to the comfort of your life, add to your warmth. So now if I purchase a pair of boots, I know that it will just add for deep snow conditions, but I don't need the boots to keep my feet warm. I can do that. My body can do that on its own.
Now that's I want to say that this is this specific example is like something you chose and to do, and that has to do with your process of getting of harnessing your power. But I don't want people to think that this is the way, or that oh, okay, so with us you don't get socks.
No, that's not it at all. That's just an example of how you can call your power home to yourself.
Because I'm trying to bridge here the consciousness of just a regular person, right? That might be interested in this, but doesn't really get it, right? And I have things that I want to bring with this, because I've been on the same quest for most of my life, and one of the things that I always sought to prove is that you can create this independent life form, completely sovereign, free from the need of money, from the need of modern doctors, modern technology, without the need. But you can have some. In my eco village, I see what I call the house of technology, which is a one building that has all the machines that you might ever want, right? Computers,
right,
synthesizers, and things that and to me it was an important thing to have that, and it's an important thing also for me to prove that you can have great abundance and wealth, right? You can. It's not about money, because some people think that that our vision is that, oh, we'll just all become we gotta get rid of comfort, just strip away our clothes and get readapt to the cold weather and to the hot weather or whatever. And yeah, there's some of that. I think there's a lot of and there's a big spiritual process in there where you start becoming you allow your just nature to make up for things instead of needing physical things, right? I think there is that's a big part of the process of growth. But I think that's optional. But I also see that this is it's not, we're not like forcing a place here, right? We're not saying, okay, this is not a religion. We're not a religion. We're not a dictatorship or anything like that. Oh, we all need to do this and we all need to do it that way. And I think that you can. Oh, I see in one of the villages that proving that you can have a lot of wealth, meaning a lot of food. Just think about. I want people to think about eating a lot better, having access to even higher quality foods, higher quality clothes. Think about your homes where your trinkets and your things that you use are made in China and they're made of plastic and that's just cheap, ugly stuff, right? And
Right.
I see a world where you can live uh, in a nice house, in a nice home with where everything has been made by you or by your community,
Someone in the hub.
your someone in the hub, your clothes, your furniture, and where actually life itself becomes even more rich in the sense where the furniture you're using is this beautifully sculpted wood thing that somebody made, which if you were to sell it, it would be just 20 times more costly than anything you have right now, in your house. So if you see it that way, it's really also about becoming richer and wealthier, right? Because also we're not giving
Absolutely.
our energy to those guys that are just stealing all of our money, all of our energy. They're just accumulating it in an account, some invisible number, right? They're turning everything into nothing.
Right. Because wealth has nothing to do with money.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying money is bad, but this fiat currency, this petrodollar we've been operating under, is the source of. It's not having $1 million petrodollars in your account does not make you a millionaire.
Yeah. Doesn't make you any richer or wealthier.
No.
Quality of life. Being able to take life like you are right now. It's things that are priceless. Well,
Right.
I want to. There's so much more we can talk about, and we're going to be talking about so many more things regarding this. And well, we're going to be having these conversations, Ingrid. I think
Yep.
there's so much we can discuss, and instead of we were doing these discussions by ourselves without making them go live. And we want to tell the public that we're going to be doing them live now. We're going to actually talk, me and Ingrid, about this, and we're going to work together because, as you can see, you'll be able to notice that this is a process, right? Very important to tell people this is not about the money, right? People might be wondering, well, what are you selling here? So when am I going to get the ad here?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Purchase my product for just $37.
So that's the amazing thing, and that's where you really prove, Ingrid, that you're able to go beyond. Because I bet these guys at New Earth Project, whatever, maybe their intentions are good, but then they get told by the experts that, hey, do you want to get viewers? I mean, look at this. We have not a single viewer. I mean, we're going to rely on this video getting seen later on by somebody playing it. And why? Because we are not following the path of the money. If you follow the path of the money, you start selling something, and that you need to adapt everything you do into that, right? You need to plug
Right.
into the money machine. And
Right.
if you do that, and I've seen it, and this is something I'm constantly seeing, when you do that, when you plug into the money, and you change your ways so that it flows with the society, then yeah, you'll get seen, and maybe you'll get money, but then you treason your own principles. You betray your
Prostitute
goals.
yourself.
Your And that's what you've been so wise at avoiding, right? And Ingrid, and even me, I've been trying to advise of one or two things, and you say no, this can't go that way, because you have it very clear how to avoid uh, being dragged into the same stream of everything is where the money is, right?
It's a
So
challenge. It's a challenge to stay out of that. And one marketing guru says, refers to the movie Field of Dreams and says, no, 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 no. If you build it, they will come. Does not work. That does not work. And I would totally believe wholeheartedly that if you build it, they will come, because I'm not selling you. I'm not getting you to come build my ark for me. I'm telling you, you can build your own ark. And I'll show you how.
so you're really doing something that is completely uh, free of self-interest and free of the interest. I mean, your interest here is continuing your legend, being a legend, is building the villages, is really healing other people, which by now you know that healing yourself, which is something I also learned at some point. It gets you can heal up to a point yourself, but then also you need to start healing the community around you. You cannot self-isolate. We're not self-isolating.
No, you heal in relationship.
So that's what we're doing here, and that's why we're doing it. And that I want people to know that. I want people to really figure that out and see, oh, that's why they don't get so many views. Oh, that's why they're not selling a book, or they're not selling something right now. And so they'll see that. I want them to see that, and I want them to see also how this is a process. And yes, if we do get resources, obviously you're going to invest them into making this work. And this is a self-grown community, but you're not limiting that. You're not like, when I tell you, for example, hey, let's create a healthcare system where you can guide people away from health dependency or drug dependency, or in general the modern healthcare system. Create an alternative healthcare system, and I say, hey, price on it, and which is going to tell people it's valuable. And you say, well, I want people to donate. I want people to choose how much they want to donate. And that's just such a difficult decision to make, really. But it's very symbolic, and I think you understand the power of symbols, and I think you're handling them. I mean, you're harnessing the power of symbols, and of making your acts into symbols. You're really proving that you're wanting to help, Ingrid, right?
Right.
And that you can help, and that you can guide people, and that you can spark this new world. And I think that you know that. I think the universe knows that, and I want people to know that. I want people to understand that, and I want people to see that, and to see that is the reason that they're not seeing, NGOs supporting, or we're not a 501 thing, because you're avoiding all of those structures that at the long run they drag you into going somewhere else you don't want to go, right?
Right. So any dollar amount is not so much a donation as how much do you value yourself and what you learn while you're here, while you work with me. And so let's say someone can only do $3 a month for an OWL citizenship, and someone else chooses the top dollar, which is 56. That means I value myself more because I'm doing 56. No, it's not. Again, it's not. You're not. It's how much you feel you can set aside currently in the state you're at. Someone that sets aside $3, it might be their last $3 a month, is valuing themselves at the same $56 a month level that someone else that has all this disposable income and is like, yeah, 56 isn't anything. Right? Yeah. So it's not, again, I'm not leveling people. We're not leveling people into, it's show your commitment and your value for doing this progressive journey with dollars, but it's your choice. First, with dollars and action. Dollars and action. It's not just dollars, it's action. But if you want to do just dollars, you can do just dollars too. But we want dollars and action. Action first, right?
Yeah, and it's just the community mindset where, it's a cooperative mindset where people give what they can. And I bet there's, at some point, there will be somebody that says, okay, I think you guys are doing a good thing, a good job, and I have all these money, and here it goes. And I think that is going to happen at some point. That should happen. And this is the way to prove that you're handling it, and that it self proves you're not looking to accumulate money. Nobody's looking. You're not also looking to live off of money. You're trying to become free of money. That's what.
Yeah,
kind of like the ultimate goal is to not need money to live.
Our economic sovereignty pillar is to a world of contributionism without money. Ultimately.
So yeah, that's the ultimate goal. I want people to see that you're in that stance where, if somebody tells you, hey, why don't you just do this and I'll give you this much money, and you're probably going to turn them down, right? Because you don't want money. It's not about the money. It's not about the money.
If somebody says you need to do this and this for me to give you the money, I'll be like, yeah, no, because that's part of the nonprofit racket is when somebody gives a large amount of their money, they're like, I'm bestowing this on you, so you need to fill this table for me, which means that now if I see a person in need of a blanket, I can't just give the blanket. I have to. I've seen the rules and regulations too much. We get paid to hire people for rules and regulations in nonprofits, and the people that actually need the help don't get help because there's so many rules and regulations. So many ticks to fill out for the person who gave the money. So you want to give me money on conditions? No, thank you. Don't give me money with conditions. Don't ask me to name a building in your honor. Don't ask me to name my farm in your honor. Don't ask us to name any farm in any of our villages in your honor. We won't do it.
And that's because that's how the system works. That's how the money works. They have their agendas, and that's how they engulf you. They take you in. They drag you into you want money? Okay, you'll get money, but you're going to be part of this machinery that's working this way, and we're working the other way.
Our ethics, our base ethics are care of the earth, care of ourselves and each other, and returning the surplus to the earth and ourselves.
So there you have it. There's a lot more we need to talk about, and we're going to be doing so. And well, here you have it, folks. This is Ingrid Huffman. I'm Julian Katari, DWD Ranch in Indianola, Oklahoma. And I am sitting right now in Jalapa, Veracruz, which is Jalapa is the capital city of the state of Veracruz in Mexico. And this is Sacred Owl Conversations, Sacred Warrior Conversations. And we welcome you to join us. We're going to be doing this every week, right, Ingrid? Every week?
Yes.
Once a week on Tuesdays. We might change at some point the time, but for now we'll have it on Tuesdays. And I hope you can join us because there's so much more to explain and about the questions. I know that people they kind of see this and it's like, oh wow, this kind of makes sense, but there's so many other things that don't make sense and that I'm not fully convinced, because this is, I mean, we have to talk about the whole history of humankind. We have to, sticking to one philosophy, one religion, or one spiritual perspective is not enough anymore. I know you do that. I know you draw in from different spiritual and wisdom sources, and only there do you have a broad enough perspective to really get to where we are and to where you are. And so this means that this is more than a book. This is more than two books. There's a lot to talk about and a lot of information that we need to share with you. And I hope that you can really be patient with us. I know this is not the best setting, or this is not a high-end production. We have, hey, you want to help us out?
It's just raw. Raw on the farm in Oklahoma and raw from Mexico.
If anybody wants to help out with the production or anything, we're an open community, and you're most welcome to participate in any way you see fit. So we'll be doing this with what we have. This is what we have, but keep in mind that we have a lot. We have a lot of things to share and a lot of things to talk about. And so we'll be doing that, Ingrid, and hope to see you on the next show.
Yep, looking forward to it.
So that's it, folks. I want to invite you finally to the website owlsacrednation.com. That's where you'll find Owl Citizen is the way to kind of sign up to this, and as soon as you sign up, you'll see that you'll probably wonder, how much do I have to pay? And it's really not about that. It's not about having an online course either. It's really about getting in contact and having contact, right? We want to have contact, and we want to put our hands on the earth and get real. It's time to get real and to get.
And we want you to start dreaming of your personal legend.
And Ingrid is going to show you the way personally, right? So that's all you have to do is go in there, sign up, and she'll contact you, and you'll start walking your way. That's how it works.
Yep.
There's nothing pre-digested for you. Your personal legend is for you. So there you have it. Please go to the website if you're interested, and join us next week at Tuesday, 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. So anything else you want to say, Ingrid?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, so we send many blessings to everyone. Thank you for watching. See you soon now.
Bye.
Bye bye.